Hey Marietta, so we back in chapter 5, the fire. I'm a friend. Oh, chapter 4. I'm a friend, Alice, I said as I knelt and turned the unconscious woman's head to a more comfortable looking position. Alice watched me uncertainly, then spoke in a small whispery voice. She did. I looked up. The child was younger than Ruth, dark and slender and small. She wiped her nose on her sleeves and sniffed. No, she's not dead. Is there water in the house? Yeah, go get me some. She ran into the cabin and returned a few seconds later with a gourd dipper of water. I wet the mother's face a little, washed blood from around her nose and mouth. For what I could see of her, she seems to be around my age, slender like her child, like me in fact. And like me, she was fine boned. Probably not as strong as she needed to be to survive in this era, but she was surviving, however painfully. Wait a minute, y'all. Let me see what this is. Receipts. Okay. Maybe she will help me learn how. She regained consciousness slowly, first moaning, then crying out. Alice, Alice. Mama, said the child attentively. The woman's eyes opened wider and she stared at me. Who are you? A friend. I came here to ask for help, but right now, I'd rather give it. When you feel able to get up, I'll help you inside. I said, who are you? Her voice had hardened. My name is Dana. I'm a free woman. I was on my knees beside her now, and I saw her look at my blouse, my pants, my shoes, which for unpacking and working around the house happened to be an old pair of desert boots. She took a good look at me and then judged me. A runaway, you mean? That's what the patrollers would say because I have no papers, but I'm free, born free, intending to stay free. You'll get me in trouble. Not tonight. You already had your trouble for the night. I hesitated, bit my lips, then said softly, please don't turn me away. The woman said nothing for several seconds. I saw her glance over at her daughter, then touch her own face and wipe away blood from the corners of her mouth. Wasn't going to turn you away, she said softly. Thank you. I helped her up and into the cabin. Refuge, then, a few hours apiece. Perhaps tomorrow night I could go on behaving like a runaway this woman thought I was. Perhaps from her I could learn the quickest, safest way north. The cabin was dark except for a dying fire in the fireplace, but the woman made her way to her bed without troubles. Alice, she called out. Here I am, Mama. Put a log on the fire. I watched the child obey, her long gown hanging dangerously near hot coals. Rufus' friend was at least as careless with fire as he was. Rufus, his name brought back all my fear and confusion and longing to go home. Would I really have to go all the way to some northern state to find peace? And if I did, what kind of peace would it be? The restricted North was better for blacks than the slave South, but not much better. Why did you come here? The woman asked. Who sent you? I stared into the fire, frowning. I could hear her moving around behind me, probably putting on clothing. The boy, I said softly. Rufus wailing. The small noises stopped. There was silence for a moment. I knew I had taken a risk telling her about Rufus, probably a foolish risk. I wonder why I had done it. No one knows about me but him, I could tell you. Oh, excuse me, y'all. The fire began to flare up around Alice's small log. The log cracked and spluttered and filled the silence until Alice said, Mr. Rufus won't tell, she shrugged. He never tells nothing. And there in her woods was a reason for the risk I had taken. I hadn't thought of it until now. But if Rufus was one to tell what he shouldn't, Alice's mother should know so that she could either hide me or send me away. I waited to see what she said. You sure the father didn't see you? She asked. And that had to mean that she agreed with Alice, that Ruth was all right. Tom Rayner had probably mocked his son more than he knew with that whip. Would I be here if the father had seen me? I asked. Guess not. I turned to look at her. She wore a gown now, long and white like her daughter's. She sat on the edge of her bed watching me. There was a table near me made of thick, smooth planks and a bench made from section of split log. I sat down on the bench. Does Tom Wayne own your husband? I asked. She nodded sadly. You saw? Yes. He shouldn't have come. I told him not to. Did he really have a past? She gave a bitter laugh. No, he won't get one either. Not to come see me. Mr. Tom said for him to choose a new wife there on the plantation. That way Mr. Tom will own all his children. I looked at Alice. The woman followed my gaze. He never owned a child of mine, she said flatly. I wonder they seem so vulnerable here. I doubt that this was their first visit from the patrol or their last. In a place like this, how could a woman be sure of anything? And then there was history. Rufus and Alice would get together somehow. Where are you from? Asked the woman suddenly. The way you talk, you're not from here. You're not from around here. The new subject caught me by surprise, and I almost said Los Angeles, New York. I lied quietly. In 1815, California was nothing more than a distant Spanish colony. A colony this woman had probably never heard of. That's a long way off, said the woman. My husband is here. Where had that lie come from? And I had said, where had that lie come from? And I had said it with all the longing I felt for Kevin, who was now too far away for me to reach through my own effort. The woman came over and stood staring down at me. She looked tall and straight and grim and years older. They carried you off? She asked. Yes, maybe in the way I had been kidnapped. You sure they didn't get him too? Just me, I'm sure. And now you're going back? Yes. Firstly, hopefully, yes. Lie and truth merged together. There was silence. The woman looked at her daughter, then back at me. You stay here tonight. You stay here until tomorrow night, she said. Then there's another place you can head for. They'll let you have some food and she looked contrite. You must be hungry now. I'll get you something. No, I'm not hungry, just tired. Get into bed then. Alice, you too. There's room for all us. There's room for all of us there. She went to the shower and began brushing off some of the dirt Alice had brought in from the outside. I saw her close her eyes for a moment, then glance at the door. Dana, you said your name was Dana? Yes, I forgot the blanket, she said. I left it outside. I'll get it, I said. I went to the door and looked outside. The blanket lay where the patrollers had thrown it, on the ground not far from the house. I went over to pick it up, but just as I reached for it, someone grabbed me and swung me around. Suddenly I was facing a young white man, broad face, dark hair, stocky, and about a half foot taller than I was. What in the hell? He spluttered. You're not the one. He peered at me as though he wasn't sure. Apparently I looked enough like Alice's mother to confuse him. Briefly, who are you? He demanded. What are you doing here? What to do? He held me easily, barely noticing my effort to pull away. I live here, I lied. What are you doing here? I thought he'd be more likely to believe me if I sound indignant. Instead, he slapped me stunningly with one hand while he held me with the other. He spoke very softly. You got no manners, nigga. I'll teach you some. I said nothing. My ears still rang from his blow. But I heard him say, you could be her sister or her twin sister almost. That seemed to be a good thing for him to think. So I kept silent. Silas seemed so safer anyway. Her sister dressed up like a boy. He began to smile. Her runaway sister. I wonder what you're worth. I panicked. Having him catch me and hold me was bad enough. Now he meant to turn me in as a runaway. I dug the nails of my free hand into his arm and tore the flesh from elbow to wrist. Surprise and pain made the man loosen his grip on me slightly, and I wrenched away. I heard him yell, heard him start after me. I ran mindlessly towards the cabin door only to find Alice's mother there bearing my way. Don't come in here, she whispered. Please don't come in here. I had no chance to go in. The man caught me, pulling me backwards, threw me to the ground. He would have had kicked me, but I rolled aside and jumped to my feet. Terror gave me speed and I never knew I had. Again, I ran, this time for the trees. I didn't know where I was going, but the sound of the man behind me sent me zigzagging and on. Now I longed for darker, denser woods that I could lose myself in. The man tackled me and brought me down hard. At first, I lay stunned, unable to move or defend myself even when he began hitting me, punching me with his fist. I had never been beaten that way before. Would never have thought I could absorb so much punishment without losing consciousness. When I tried to scramble away, he pulled me back. When I tried to push him away, he hardly seemed to notice. At one point, I did get his attention, though. He had leaned down close to me, pinning me flat on my back. I raised my hand to his face, my fingers partly covering his eyes. In that instant, I knew I could stop him, cripple him. In this primitive age, destroy him. His eyes. I had only to move my fingers a little and jab them into the soft tissue, gouge away his sight and give him more agony than he was giving me. But I couldn't do it. The thought sickened me, froze my hands where they were. I had to do it, but I couldn't. The man knocked my hands from his face and moved back from me, and I cursed myself for my uttering stupidity. My chance was gone, and I done nothing. My squirmish belongs in another age, but I brought it along with me. Now I will be so into slavery because I didn't have the stomach to defend myself in the most effective way. Slavery, and there was a more intimate threat. The man had stopped beating me. Now he simply kept a tight hold on me and looked at me. I could see that I had left a few scratches on his face, shallow, insignificant scratches. The man rubbed his hand across them, looked at the blood, then at me. You know you're going to pay for that, don't you? He said. I said nothing. Stupidity was what I would pay for, if any. I guess you'll do as well as your sister, he said. I came back for her, but you're just like her. That told me he probably was one of the patrollers, the one who had hit Alice's mother probably. He reached out and gripped my blouse open. Buttons flew everywhere, but I didn't move. I understood what the man was going to do. He was going to display some stupidity of his own. He was going to give me another chance to destroy him. I was almost relieved. He tore loose my bra and prepared to move. Just one quick lunge. Then suddenly, for no reason that I could see, he reared above me, fist drawn back to hit me again. I jerked my head aside, hit it on something hard just as his fist glanced off my jaw. The new pain shattered my resolve, sent me scrambling away again. I was only able to move a few inches before he pinned me down, but that was far enough for me to discover that the thing I had hit my head on was a heavy stick, a tree limb perhaps. I grasped it with both hands and brought it down as hard as I could on his head. He collapsed across my body. I lay still panting, trying to find the strength to get up and run. The man had a horse around somewhere. If I could find it, I dragged myself from beneath his heavy body and tried to stand up. Halfway up, I felt myself lose his consciousness. Falling back, I caught hold of a tree and willed myself to stay conscious. If the man came to me and found me, if the man came to and found me nearby, he would kill me. He would surely kill me. But I couldn't keep my hold on the tree. I fell. Slowly, it seemed into a deep, starless darkness. Okay, so y'all gonna have to wait till Monday to get the rest. And I'll be on chapter. Well, I can read chapter 5 now. It's short. Chapter 5. Pain dragged me back to consciousness. At first, it was all I was aware of. Every part of my body hurt. Then I saw a blurred face above me, the face of a man, and I panicked. I scrambled away, kicking him, clawing the hands that reached out for me, trying to bite, lunging up towards his eyes. I could do it now. I would do it. Anything. Dana. I froze. My name? No patroller would know that. Dana, look at me, for God's sakes. Kevin. It was Kevin's voice. I stared upward, managed to focus on him clearly at last. I was home. I was laying on my own bed, bloody and dirty, but safe. Safe. Kevin lay half on top of me, holding me, smearing himself with my blood in his own. I could see where I had scratches his face, so near the eye. I could see where I scratched his face, so near the eye. Kevin, I'm sorry. Are you all right? Yes, I thought you were the patroller. The what? I'll tell you later. God, I hurt, and I'm so tired. But it doesn't matter. I'm home. You were gone 2 or 3 minutes this time. I didn't know what to think. You don't know how good it is to have you back again. 2 or 3 minutes? Almost 3 minutes. I watched the clock, but it seemed to be longer. I closed my eyes in pain and weariness. It hadn't just seemed longer to me. I had been gone for hours and I knew it. But at that moment, I couldn't have argued it. I couldn't have argued anything. The surge of strength that helped me to fight when I thought I was fighting for my life was gone. I'm going to take you to the hospital, said Kevin. I don't know how I'm going to explain you, but you need help. No. He got up. I felt him lift me. No, Kevin, please. Listen, don't be afraid. I'll be with you. No, look. All he did was hit me a few times. I'll be all right. Suddenly, I had the strength again, now that I needed it. Kevin, I went from here the first time and this second time, and I came back here. What will happen if I go from the hospital and come back there? Probably nothing. But he had stopped. No one who sees you leave or come back will believe it, and they wouldn't dare tell anybody. Please just let me sleep. That's all I really need. Rest. The cuts and bruises will heal. I will be fine. He took me back to the bed, probably against his better judgment, and put me down. How long was it for you? He asked. Hours, but it was only bad at the end. Who did this to you? A patroller. He thought I was a runaway. I frowned. I had to sleep, Kevin. I'll make more sense in the morning, I promise. My voice trailed away. Dana, I jumped, trying to refocus my attention on him. Did he rape you? No. I hit him with a stick, knocked him out, let me sleep. Wait a minute. I seemed to drift away from him. It became too much trouble for me to go on listening, trying to understand. Too much trouble to answer. I signed again and closed my eyes. I heard him get up and go away. Heard water running somewhere. Then I slept. Okay, y'all. Y'all don't have to wait for chapter 6 on Monday. And please, thank y'all for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And share. Thank y'all.